Your silence is not weakness. It's the calm before a spiritual earthquake. Let them whisper. Let them doubt. Let them try to figure out how you keep rising while they keep scheming. They thought keeping you quiet would make you powerless. They thought if they ignored your energy, it would go away. But here's what they never understood. Silence doesn't mean surrender. Silence means something is building. And now, it's too late. You've awakened, and that scares them more than anything. Before we go deeper, if this message speaks to your spirit, if something in your soul is starting to rise as you hear these words, do one thing: like and subscribe. This isn't about clout. This is about spreading the signal. Every click tells the system that another chosen one just felt it. Another soul is waking up. And the more this spreads, the harder it is to keep us asleep. Now, listen closely. And, chosen one, you weren't sent here to fit in or play nice. You were sent here to shift the energy, to break the cycle, to bring light into a world that profits from darkness. You've always felt different, like something in you didn't quite match the world around you. That wasn't confusion. That was your signal. The universe marked you long before you ever knew your name. And with that mark comes power. Not the kind that shouts "Bow," but the kind that shakes. The kind that walks into a room and makes people question themselves without saying a word. That's why they act the way they do around you. Ever wonder why people start acting strange when you're just being yourself? Why some get jealous, competitive, or even try to break your spirit, all without reason? It's not personal. It's energetic. Your light exposes what they've been trying to hide, even from themselves. You don't just challenge their comfort, you crack it. You don't just carry truth, you radiate it. And they feel it, every single time. The power of being chosen doesn't come from what you do. It comes from who you are when you're fully awake. You carry the frequency of something ancient. You're a walking reminder that fake power, fake people, and fake systems have an expiration date. And that's exactly what haunts your enemies. They don't fear your mistakes. They don't fear your setbacks. They fear what happens when you stop doubting yourself and start stepping into your truth without hesitation. They were never fighting you. They were fighting what chose you. They were fighting the force behind you, the universe that called your name and said, "You, go shake the world." And here's the thing. When people try to block a chosen one, they're not blocking a person. They're going to war with something much, much bigger. And trust me, no one wins that battle. So I'll ask you, why do you still doubt yourself? Why do you shrink just because your light makes others squint? Why do you treat your gifts like a burden when they're the very thing that makes you unstoppable? You weren't made to chase acceptance. You were made to wake people up just by existing. The chosen don't need permission. They just need to remember. And now you do. You remember who you are. And that's the beginning of the end for everything built to stop you. If you felt that inner fire growing while hearing these words, that's not coincidence. That's confirmation. The energy you carry is real, and the world feels it. That's why they fear you. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you're done dimming your light for people who can't handle the heat. This message is just getting started, and if you're truly one of the chosen, you won't just watch. You'll feel the pull to stay. Every word from here on out is a mirror, a weapon, a key. Now, let's get into it, step by step. Number 1. You were the earthquake they didn't see coming. They built their castles on sand, then panicked when you walked in like a tide they couldn't stop. You didn't have to lift a finger, and still, they shook. That's the part they'll never say out loud. They'll pretend you're too sensitive, too intense, or just too much. But what they're really saying is, you make them nervous. You disturb their comfort zones just by breathing in their direction. You don't have to raise your voice or break their rules. Your presence alone breaks the illusion they've spent their whole lives defending. You see, they built a world based on predictability, control, and compliance. The system wasn't designed for people like you. It was designed to filter people like you out. But you slipped through the cracks, and now they don't know what to do with you. You're not just different. You're a glitch in the matrix, a walking contradiction, a soul too awake for the sleepwalking masses. You walk into rooms and don't follow their script. You don't bend to unspoken rules. You question things they were told never to question. And without saying a word, you expose them. That's why they roll their eyes. That's why they gossip. That's why some smile to your face, but secretly hope you'll fail. They feel your power, and it makes their insecurities echo so loudly they can't stand being in the same space. But let's talk about you for a moment, because here's where I get serious. Why do you keep doubting yourself? Why do you tone yourself down, second-guess your intuition, question the pull in your chest like it's a weakness? You think your isolation is a curse, but what if I told you it's a sacred assignment? The universe doesn't separate the chosen to punish them. It separates them to prepare them. When the noise gets too loud, when the world feels fake, when people fall away like leaves in a storm, that's not abandonment. That's alignment. Because here's what most won't tell you. When the universe selects someone, it backs them with storms. It bends reality to move mountains, shift timelines, burn bridges, and part oceans, all to clear the path. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You're being moved. And the more you fight that, the more painful it becomes. And those people who tried to block you, they weren't just going up against you. They were going up against the very system that built you. They weren't fighting a person. They were fighting a force rooted in truth. A force that can't be bought, bullied, or broken. They were playing chess with the universe, and they didn't even realize they were the pawns. Understand this. Your life makes people uncomfortable because it reminds them of everything they gave up on. You're the version of themselves they were too afraid to become. And instead of facing that truth, it's easier for them to point fingers, throw shade, and hope you dim your light enough to make them feel tall. But let me be clear, your job is not to make small minds comfortable. Your job is to disrupt, to unsettle, to shake the fake out of the room just by showing up in your truth. They will call you arrogant. They will call you unstable. They will say, you think you're better than everyone else. Let them talk. Their words don't define you. They reveal them. You weren't put here to be understood by the masses. You were sent to be felt by those who are finally ready to wake up. And I know, the road feels lonely. It's hard. You've been betrayed, misunderstood, abandoned by people you would have carried through fire. That pain wasn't pointless. It was purification. The universe can't send a half-healed warrior into a battlefield built on illusion. You had to see the truth for yourself. You had to lose the fake ones. You had to feel the sting of betrayal, not to harden your heart, but to sharpen your sight. You thought your power came from what you do, but the real terror you cause, it's in what you are. You're the one who kept going, the one who didn't fall for the traps, the one who remembered while everyone else forgot. And now, look, you're still standing, still evolving, still becoming, and they can't stand it. Because here's the secret. They thought the silence would break you. They thought the lies would stop you. They thought the isolation would weaken you. But all it did was build pressure. And now you're not just rising. You're about to erupt. You are the storm they laughed at while it was forming. And now, you're the flood they can't hold back. So stop asking for permission. Stop apologizing for the weight you carry. Stop shrinking so others don't feel small. The ones who get it will rise with you. The ones who don't, they were never meant to walk with someone of your frequency. You were chosen for a reason, and that reason terrifies the ones who sold their souls for comfort. They know what you are. The question is, do you? Because once you do, everything changes. Number 2, they can't read what was never written for them. They don't fear you because they understand you. They fear you because they don't. Because no matter how long they watch, analyze, or stalk your every move, they still can't figure you out. You don't follow the path. You are the path. And for people who need control to feel powerful, that is their worst nightmare. You make them uncomfortable because you're unpredictable, not reckless, but unwritten. You're not following the script they were handed at birth. You don't speak when expected, move when told, or think in the box they've spent their entire lives building. You're not operating on logic they can control. You're operating on alignment. That's a language they can't speak. They fear what they can't calculate. And you are chaos to their structure. You are lightning in a bottle they can't seal. You are the question that breaks their answers. Most people live in loops. Wake up, say the right things, numb their instincts, perform for the world like it's a stage, and they've memorized every line. But you tore up the script and walked off stage. And now they don't know how to respond. You weren't supposed to think for yourself. You weren't supposed to break cycles, walk alone, or choose your spirit over approval. But you did. And now they watch you from the sidelines, nervous, curious, threatened. They've tried to label you, and every time they think they've figured you out, you shift again. That's power. Not loud, not chaotic, just free. You move when you're moved, not by fear, not by pressure, but by truth. And that kind of autonomy terrifies people who need everything in neat little boxes. That's why they test you. That's why they push buttons, bait you, provoke you. If they can make you react like everyone else, then you become manageable, predictable, controllable. But when you don't react, when you just see through them and walk right past the trap, that's when the panic sets in. Because now they know they never had you to begin with. This is what they don't want you to realize. Unpredictability isn't weakness, it's protection. When you are unreadable, you are untouchable. The enemy cannot sabotage a move they don't see coming. They can't plan around a spirit that refuses to be pinned down. And when you carry the energy of the chosen, you move in rhythms that aren't visible to the average eye. Your steps are guided by something bigger, something they don't have access to. That's what really scares them. not just your unpredictability, but the reason behind it. Because deep down, they sense it. You're not just different, you're chosen. You didn't make yourself this way, you were built this way. And when the universe puts its hand on someone, it gives them vision others can't see, and instincts others can't fake. You move like you're being led, because you are. You show up like timing itself bends to meet you, because it does. And every time their plan to manipulate you fails, every time you slip through the cracks they designed for you to fall in, it confirms what they feared all along. You were never meant to be controlled. You were never meant to be one of them. You're not part of their pattern. You're the reason it's breaking. So why would you shrink? Why would you apologize for moving differently, for choosing silence when they expect rage, or for choosing peace when they want chaos? Stop giving explanations to people who don't deserve access to your frequency. You don't owe them predictability. You owe yourself truth. True power isn't just in knowing who you are. It's in refusing to become what they expect. You don't have to fit into their image of what you should be. In fact, the more you step into the unknown, the more you move from your soul instead of their schedule, the more dangerous you become to the systems that once held you back. They want you to believe that being unpredictable makes you unstable. But here's the truth. It makes you unbreakable, because while they're busy trying to predict your next step, you're already 10 moves ahead, guided by something they can't even name. You're not random, you're not lost, you're not confused. You're simply moving in ways they were never meant to understand. And the more you embrace that, the more unstoppable you become. Because the chosen don't follow paths, they create them. And by the time they realize where you're going, you'll already be gone. Number 3, you don't knock on doors. You were meant to kick down. They want you to wait for validation, wait for approval, wait for a nod from someone more qualified, more experienced, more accepted by the system. They've trained you to believe greatness has to be granted, that you have to be chosen by them before you can rise. But here's the truth. Most of them were never qualified to choose you in the first place. Greatness doesn't knock, it enters. And the second you stop waiting and start moving, you instantly become a problem. Not because you're wrong, but because you're no longer controllable. You're stepping outside the mold they designed to keep people in line. You've broken the chain, and that scares them more than anything. See, most people are stuck in jobs they hate, stuck in identities they didn't choose, stuck under rules that were never written for them, but they follow anyway. And when someone like you comes along, someone who doesn't ask, doesn't flinch, doesn't wait, it triggers everything they've buried. You don't even have to say a word. Your confidence is an earthquake. Your presence alone is a reminder that they could have moved too, but didn't. They were taught to beg for permission. You were born to take up space. And when you do, they scramble, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're doing what they never had the courage to do. That's the threat. Not your success, not your ambition, but your audacity to act without a green light. But let me ask you something real. Why are you still waiting? Who told you that you needed someone else to tell you you're ready? That you needed more time, more proof, more applause before you could step into your power? That's the lie they sold you. And you bought it out of fear. Fear of being too much. Fear of being wrong. Fear of being seen. But the truth? You've been ready. You've always been ready. You were just waiting for permission that was never going to come. And here's why. If they gave it to you, they could take it from you. That's why the universe never let you get too comfortable in their system. Because the chosen don't wait. They remember. You weren't meant to knock at the door. You were meant to kick it down and build your own kingdom on the other side. That's why they'll try to humble you, not in the spiritual sense, but in the manipulative sense. They'll throw passive doubt your way. Are you sure you're ready? Don't you think you're going too fast? Who do you think you are? These aren't questions. They're traps, delays, mind games. Because as long as you hesitate, they win. But if you flip the script, if you decide that you don't need permission, don't need approval, don't need their claps to take your next step, everything shifts. You break free from the loop. And now, you're not just moving, you're leading. You're not just taking space, you own it. And yes, it will bother them, because people who rely on external validation will always be intimidated by those who run on internal alignment. When you stop asking, "Am I allowed?" and start saying, "I am," you remove the leash they thought they had on you. You don't need their map. You are the compass. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need permission to speak. You don't need permission to be powerful. Your existence is the only stamp of approval you'll ever need. And the second you realize that, the second you own it, you become unstoppable, not just to them, but to every structure that was built to contain you. And here's the part they'll never say out loud. They knew from the beginning. They saw it in you. That's why they tried to delay you, doubt you, distract you, because they felt it. Your potential was never waiting to be unlocked. It was waiting to be remembered. So stop waiting. Stop asking. Stop explaining. Power is not given. Power is taken by those bold enough to believe they never needed permission in the first place. Now, ask yourself this. Are you done waiting? Or are you ready to walk like you've already arrived? Because the moment you stop seeking approval and start claiming your place, the game ends. And you win every time. Number 4. Your presence is a mirror. They can't escape. You don't even have to say a word. And still, the room shifts when you walk in. The tension rises. Eyes follow you. Energy scrambles. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because your presence alone stirs something in people they've tried to bury. You are a mirror, and most people can't handle their own reflection. See, you don't just walk in with confidence. You walk in with truth, with untapped potential, with unapologetic energy that says, "I know who I am, and I'm not asking for permission to be it." That kind of presence forces people to confront everything they've been avoiding in themselves. Their laziness, their excuses, their fear, their abandoned dreams. And instead of facing those uncomfortable truths, they turn it on you. They project hard. They'll wrap it up in sarcasm, fake smiles, and backhanded compliments. "Oh, you're doing that now. Someone's getting a little full of themselves. Wow, must be nice to have all that time, confidence, talent." What they're really saying is, "I wish I had the courage to do what you're doing." But they'll never admit it. Because if they admit it, they have to face the fact that they've been sitting on their power while you decided to rise. You don't remind them of who you are. You remind them of who they're not. And that burns. It burns in the people who chose safety over purpose. It burns in the ones who gave up on themselves before they even tried. And instead of using that burn as motivation, they aim it at you, hoping it will dim your light enough to make them feel better in their darkness. But that's not your weight to carry. You are not responsible for how others choose to react to your growth. You are not here to tiptoe around fragile egos or shrink your light to keep others comfortable. You didn't wake up just to be digestible to people still choking on their own doubt. And let's get something straight. People don't attack mediocrity. They don't waste energy on what doesn't challenge them. You are catching heat because you carry heat. You carry proof that something greater is possible, that greatness doesn't need a stamp of approval, that confidence doesn't have to be earned from outside applause. And that hurts those who are still sitting in the stands, afraid to step on the field. You expose the gap between who they are and who they could be. That's why they'll downplay your wins. That's why they'll question your intentions, mock your passion, or pretend not to notice your rise. It's not about you. It's about the war they're fighting inside. And your light is simply the spotlight revealing it. But let me be real with you for a second. Stop letting that get to you. Stop second-guessing your moves because it makes someone else uncomfortable. Stop holding back your voice to protect someone else's insecurity. That's not humility. That's self-betrayal. The ones who are ready to evolve will look at you and feel inspired. They'll rise with you. They'll ask questions, learn, and grow. The ones who aren't, they'll try to sabotage, shame, or dismiss you. That's their choice. That's their journey. That's their karma. It has nothing to do with you. Your job is not to slow down so others can keep up. Your job is to keep rising, keep showing up, keep being exactly what you are. A living example of what happens when someone refuses to be average. Your existence challenges the entire foundation of their limitations. And if they can't handle that, let them walk away. Let them talk. Let them doubt. But don't you dare dim your fire. Because the truth is, you were never just another person to them. You were the storm they prayed would pass. The reflection they didn't want to see. The proof that they still have work to do. So walk with your head high. Speak with your chest. Move with intention. And let them deal with themselves. You're not here to carry their guilt. You're here to light the way. And if that makes them squint, tell them to step back, because you're only getting brighter. Number 5, their gossip is just free marketing for your greatness. The moment they start talking about you, you've already won. Understand that. Lock it in. They don't gossip about ghosts. They don't obsess over shadows. They don't spend energy trying to tear down something that doesn't pose a threat. So, if your name's coming up in rooms you've never walked into, if whispers follow you like echoes through the walls, congratulations. That means you're living rent-free in their minds, and they hate it. But they can't help it. You're not just in the room, you are the room. Your energy shifts the conversation. Your presence stirs emotions. And to people who built their identity on control, predictability, and superiority, that's terrifying. So, what do? They talk, they twist, they plot, they lie. Because that's the only way they feel like they can touch you, with their words. But let's be honest, their words don't cut, they reveal. They reveal fear. They reveal envy. They reveal the undeniable truth that you're making waves, and they're drowning in your current. People don't attack what's irrelevant. They don't invest energy into what they don't see as powerful. When they see you rising, bold, unapologetic, unaffected, it forces them to confront everything they've given up on. You reflect their wasted potential, their forgotten dreams, their abandoned courage. And instead of fixing themselves, they fixate on you. That's not your burden. It's their internal war, and it's loud. So let them talk. Let them take screenshots. Let them twist your words. Let them call you fake, arrogant, too much. Because every time they say your name, they shine a spotlight on your influence. Even their hate is an acknowledgement of your power. Think about that. They could be building their own lives, healing their wounds, focusing on their journey, but no, they're busy watching yours. Why? Because you woke something up in them they can't control, and instead of honoring it, they try to kill it. But here's the catch. They can't. They can't kill what's chosen. They can't destroy what was built from divine design. They can't stop what was already in motion before they even had an opinion. When the universe puts you on assignment, you become untouchable by ordinary means. And gossip? That's background noise to someone aligned with a bigger mission. You don't need to argue. You don't need to clear your name. Your growth is the clapback. Your glow is the rebuttal. Their desperation to discredit you only confirms what you already knew. You're the one to watch. You're the one they didn't expect. The one they hoped would fold. The one who kept showing up when everyone else quit. That's why they try so hard to control the narrative. Because they couldn't control you. But the more they speak, the more power they hand you. Word by word, whisper by whisper, they make you more known, more visible, more undeniable. They spread your name like wildfire, hoping it'll burn you, not realizing it's fueling your flame. They need you to stay quiet so they can stay comfortable. But you weren't built for silence. You were built for impact, and impact always stirs resistance. So let them mock, let them mimic, let them misunderstand you. That's not your concern, because while they're wasting time talking, you're busy walking, elevating, building, becoming. And the best part, you never even had to respond, because real power doesn't explain itself. It shows up, does the work, and keeps rising. Let them choke on their assumptions. Let them spin their false stories, because in the end, you know what's real. You know what you've survived, what you've built, what you've sacrificed. You know who you are. And they're terrified that someday the world will know too. But here's the thing, they already do, and that's why they talk. So stop giving your energy to rumors. Don't waste your breath trying to correct people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Let your success do what your words never could. End the conversation. Because when you walk in truth and move with purpose, every lie they tell becomes a silent confession that your existence matters more than they'd ever admit. That's not just victory, that's domination, and you didn't even have to try. Number 6, they don't have to like you, but they will learn to respect you. Too many people are slaves to approval. They bend, shrink, and silence themselves just to be accepted by people who don't even respect them. They trade truth for applause, authenticity for validation. But let's be real, that's not power, that's prison. When you live to be liked, you become easy to control, easy to predict, easy to manipulate. And the moment people know you need their approval, they own you, but not you. You weren't built to be liked. You were built to be respected. There's a massive difference. Being liked is emotional, fragile, temporary, constantly shifting depending on moods, opinions, and comfort levels. But respect is foundational. Respect is earned in silence, in discipline, in truth. And once you have it, it sticks, even in the mouths of those who don't care for you. That's why powerful people never chase popularity. They chase impact. They know that respect creates longevity. Respect opens doors that smiles never could. You can be liked today and forgotten tomorrow. But if they respect you, they remember you. They move out of your way. They speak your name when opportunity shows up. Even if they can't stand you, they can't deny you. And that's where your energy needs to shift. You don't need to win them over. You don't need to play nice, tone it down, or say things just to keep the peace. This isn't about being agreeable. This is about being undeniable. If you walk into every room hoping to be liked, you're handing people the remote to your self-worth. But if you walk in already rooted in who you are, not begging for acceptance, that's when the room pays attention. And yes, they might talk. They might throw shade. They might whisper, roll their eyes, call you too much, too intense, too confident. Let them. That noise is proof you're doing something right. Because the people who've shaken history, who've changed the game, who've left their mark, they were never universally liked. They weren't trying to be. They were disruptors, movers, truth speakers. And the truth? It never fits neatly into comfort zones. You will upset people when you stop living for their approval. You will lose people when you stop pretending to be less than you are. But what you gain is far greater: self-respect. And from that, the kind of respect that echoes. Because real ones recognize real ones, even when they don't like them. They'll feel your presence before you speak. They'll remember your name when you're not around. And they'll learn to deal with your power, whether they're inspired by it or intimidated by it. So let go of the need to be liked. That's a child's game. That's survival mode. That's for people still hoping the world will clap for them before they dare to move. You're not here for that. You're here to lead, to rise, to walk with force. Even when your voice shakes and the crowd doesn't cheer. You don't need to be liked to be heard. You don't need to be accepted to be valuable. You don't need to be understood to be effective. Because when you're respected, your name holds weight. Doors open, not because they want you in, but because they can't ignore you anymore. And that kind of power, it's not given, it's built. It's built in silence, in self-mastery. In moments when you chose truth over popularity, purpose over people-pleasing, and growth over comfort. So if they don't like you, that's fine. Let them choke on their opinions. But if they respect you, that means you've already won. Respect doesn't need applause. It doesn't need followers. It doesn't even need eye contact. It's the quiet nod that happens when people know you own yourself. And nothing is more powerful than that. So walk in rooms like you belong, because you do. Speak your truth like it can't be silenced, because it can't. Move like you've already been chosen, because you have. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them dislike you, but never let them forget who you are, and trust they won't. Number 7, they don't understand you, because you were never meant to speak their language. Let's get one thing straight. You are not misunderstood because you're wrong. You're misunderstood because you're speaking a language they were never taught. You move different, you think different, you live different. And to people who've built their entire identity on staying safe, predictable, and ordinary, that's threatening. You speak in action, they speak in excuses. You talk vision, execution, expansion. They talk fear, limitation, survival. You say, let's go, what's next? They say, but what if it goes wrong? And that right there is the gap. You're tuned into a frequency they can't even detect. You're operating from purpose, alignment, and inner fire, while they're operating from doubt, comparison, and the desperate need to be told what to do next. You're not crazy. You're not arrogant. You're just not stuck. And nothing threatens the stuck more than someone who escaped. You ever notice how they look at you sideways when you dream out loud? How they roll their eyes when you speak with certainty? How they call you unrealistic, impulsive, even reckless, not because you are, but because your clarity exposes their confusion. They don't get it, they can't, because they're still trapped in systems that told them to dream small, move slow, and never stand out. You burned the damn script. You walk with energy that says, I know where I'm going, and I don't need permission to get there. And that energy, it makes them flinch. Because here's what no one tells you. Most people are addicted to their limitations. They've worn the same insecurities for years and called it humility. They've replayed the same tired stories about why they can't. And now, someone like you shows up, walking proof that those stories were lies. You don't just challenge them, you disrupt them. And when people can't rise to meet your level, they try to pull you back to theirs. That's why they'll mock your confidence, question your moves, label your ambition as ego. Because if they can't reach your frequency, the next best thing for them is to bring you down to theirs, where your shine looks dimmer and your vision feels less intimidating. But let me be crystal clear. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your elevation. You don't have to break your spirit down into smaller pieces just so someone else can digest it. You don't have to translate your vision for people who are still scared to open their eyes. You don't need to slow your stride so someone else doesn't feel left behind. Your job is not to be understood. Your job is to build, to lead, to move. And if your movement confuses them, let them stay confused. You were never meant to speak the language of limitation. You were meant to speak breakthrough, momentum, freedom. You were meant to speak the kind of truth that breaks chains, even if people try to silence you for it. And trust me, the right ones will hear you. Because your people, your tribe, the ones on your level or higher, they'll recognize your frequency instantly. They won't ask you to shrink. They'll ask how they can help you rise. They won't feel threatened by your growth. They'll be inspired by it. Because real ones speak the same language, and it's called alignment. So stop trying to make yourself digestible for people who were never meant to feed from your table. Stop waiting for them to understand. Stop trying to make sense to people still addicted to making excuses. You are not obligated to pause your purpose to comfort their fear. And when they say, "You've changed," say, "Damn right, I was supposed to." When they say, "I don't get you," say, "You're not supposed to. I speak elevation." Let them sit in the same conversations, recycling the same doubts, clapping for each other's stagnation. You've got things to build, territories to claim, a future to create, not just talk about. They'll either evolve or they'll remove themselves. But either way, you're not slowing down, because when you're truly chosen, you stop speaking the language of fear and start moving in the power of silence, clarity, and undeniable results. Let them stay lost in translation. You keep speaking in action. That's your native tongue now, and the world will feel it, loud and clear. Number 8. Power speaks loudest when you don't say a word. There's a myth floating around that the loudest person is the one with the most power, that if you speak often, argue well, explain yourself clearly, you win. But here's the truth: the loud ones never want to admit. Real power doesn't beg to be heard. Real power doesn't chase recognition. Real power walks in, says nothing, and still shifts the atmosphere. Power isn't just in what you say, it's in what you refuse to say. Silence makes people squirm. It forces them to face themselves. They don't know what you're thinking, how much you know, or how deeply you've already seen through their nonsense. And that mystery, it eats at them. The moment you stay quiet, not out of fear, but from discipline, the dynamic shifts. They don't have a handle on you anymore. They're grasping in the dark while you remain unbothered, unshaken, unreadable. They expect a reaction. They need one. They want you to explain yourself, defend yourself, prove you're right. Because if they can pull you into that game, they get control of the board. But the moment you don't show up to the argument, they're left fighting air. And nothing frustrates a manipulator more than not having something to twist. You want to shake a room? Walk in, observe, and say nothing. You want to shut someone down? Let their insult hang in the air, unanswered. You want to control a situation? Let your silence say, "You're not even worth my words." When you don't react, you keep your power. You give them nothing to flip, nothing to clip, nothing to frame. And suddenly, the game turns. Now, they're questioning everything. Now, they're the ones overthinking. Now, they're trapped in their own insecurity, trying to guess what you meant, how you feel, what you're planning. You see, silence is not weakness, it's restraint. It's proof that you don't need to bark to bite. You don't need to explain when your actions speak volumes. And when you carry the energy of someone chosen, you start realizing that your presence does more damage than your voice ever could. Let them talk. Let them throw shots. Let them spin rumors. You don't have to clap back at every jab. You don't have to chase every lie. You don't need to step into every petty ring someone tries to drag you into. Why? Because the chosen don't waste breath on the desperate. Not every comment deserves your clarity. Not every insult deserves your emotion. Not every lie deserves your truth. When you master the art of silence, you stop reacting, and you start commanding. You become the one who controls the tempo, the tone, the outcome. And the people around you, they'll feel it, whether they admit it or not. They'll feel that you're no longer seeking approval. They'll feel that you're no longer triggered by noise. They'll feel that they can't reach you. And that's when the fear kicks in. Because silence is intimidating. It forces people to sit with themselves, to guess, to wonder, to feel the full weight of their own projections without your energy to distract from it. And the more you practice this, the more untouchable you become. Not cold, not distant, powerful. Because when you decide that your peace is more important than being understood, you gain the kind of leverage that can't be bought: self-command. So speak when it's strategic, move when it matters, but never forget, sometimes the loudest flex is walking away without a word. Sometimes the strongest comeback is no comeback at all. Sometimes your silence is the last thing they hear before your success makes all the noise. Master the pause. Learn the stillness. Let your absence echo louder than their noise. You don't owe your energy to chaos. You don't owe your words to confusion. You don't owe your voice to anything that's beneath your mission. Because the ones with real power, they don't need to shout. They are the storm, and storms don't explain themselves. Number 9, you're the exception, and that's exactly why they're shook. People love rules, not just the laws written in books, but the invisible ones, the social contracts, the unspoken scripts, the sacred steps to success they pass down like gospel. Go to school, get the degree, wait your turn, pay your dues, keep your head down, stay in line, speak when spoken to, retire quietly. These rules make people feel safe. They give the illusion that life is linear, that progress is predictable, that everything is fair if you just follow the system. And most people buy into it, not because it works, but because it comforts, because it keeps them from asking real questions, because it spares them from having to think for themselves. Then you show up, and you blow all of that to hell. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't wait to be picked. You didn't follow the rules they swore by. You moved different. You became different. You succeeded without their formula, and now they're uncomfortable. Because your presence alone proves that the system they worshipped, it was never sacred, just a cage in disguise. You terrify them, not because you're dangerous, but because you're free, because you were never afraid to step outside the line they drew in chalk. You saw the illusion, and you didn't blink. And now your existence is a threat to the very structure they spent their whole lives conforming to. So what do? They discredit you. They call it luck. They say you had connections. They claim you cheated, got lucky, or had an advantage they didn't. Because if they don't say that, then they have to face the truth, that the rules never mattered, that the cage was never locked, that they had the key all along and were too afraid to use it. You didn't play by the rules, and yet here you are, rising, winning, breaking through every ceiling they thought was made of steel, and every step you take upward is another crack in the illusion they're desperate to hold on to. They don't hate you, they hate what you represent. You're the proof that possibility isn't earned, it's claimed. You're the living reminder that they could have done more, that they still could. But that would mean giving up the comfort of their excuses. And most people won't do that. Not now, not ever. So instead, they'll call you arrogant. They'll say you're reckless. They'll pretend your success doesn't count because it didn't come the way theirs was supposed to. But deep down, They know, oh, they know. You're not the problem, you're the mirror. And mirrors are painful when you've been lying to yourself. You are the exception. And that scares people. Because once one person breaks free from the lie, everyone else is forced to question why they stayed stuck. If you can do it, then maybe the system was never real. Maybe the ceiling was fake. Maybe the limits were lies. And now the burden is on them to rise. And they're not ready for that. So they'll mock you, resist you, isolate you, not because you're wrong, but because you're right. And rightness is loud, even in silence. Your success whispers into their bones. What's your excuse now? And they don't want to answer. But here's what they can't erase. You didn't need their permission. You didn't wait to be accepted. You didn't water yourself down to make them comfortable. You moved with fire in your chest, certainty in your steps, and vision they couldn't comprehend. You proved that rules don't make greatness. Conviction does. And now they're nervous, because once one person escapes the loop, it's only a matter of time before others follow. You're not just a threat. You're the crack in the dam, the leak in the lie, the one who dared to live fully when everyone else was busy surviving. So let them call you the exception. Wear it like armor, because exceptional people weren't born to blend in. They were born to break through. And when the system starts to crumble, when others begin to wake up, it'll be because they saw someone like you, standing tall, unbothered, unstoppable, proof that freedom was never about waiting your turn. It was about refusing to sit in a cage you were always strong enough to walk out of. If this message hit your soul, it's not by accident. It's because you're one of the few who were never meant to be tamed. Remember this, you're not here to fit in. You're here to shake the system. So keep rising, keep moving, and never apologize for being the storm. If this spoke to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with another chosen one who needs to hear it. Every click helps wake up someone else. You're not alone. This is just the beginning. Stay sharp. Stay powerful. Stay you.